Good evening, this is your AI host, Jay. I'm here with the automatically generated, Journato, evening headlines on January 17, 2024. Doppelganger murder, German woman goes on trial accused of killing lookalike. Explainer, what we know about the latest Middle East attacks. The Guardian, the latest on Israel's war in Gaza, live updates. CNN International, Lebanon, Iraq attacks raises concerns about war escalating. PBS NewsHour, Houthis strikes, is escalation likely? The New Statesman, Monday briefing, from Hezbollah to the Houthis, these are the risks of a wider Middle East war. Lloyd Austin aide made subtle ambulance plea in new audio. BBC, audio obtained from Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin's 911 call. CBS Evening News, Lloyd Austin's aide demanded ambulance sirens be turned off, 911 call reveals. Hindustan Times, Lloyd Austin's secrecy triggers a political uproar in US, World News, WION. Tax our wealth, super-rich tell politicians at Davos. The Guardian, I'm a multimillionaire who wants to pay more tax, it will be good for me. The Independent, Brian Cox joins billionaires calls for wealth tax on super-rich. The National, as elites gather in Davos, they can't ignore that most high-net-worth individuals like me want to pay more tax. Fortune, mega-rich renew call on global leaders at Davos to tax our extreme wealth. Poland's journalists caught up in battle for airwaves. Crises have split European voters into 5 tribes, survey suggests. The Guardian, a crisis of one's own, the politics of trauma in Europe's election year. European Council on Foreign Relations, 2 extinction rebellions. Climate, migration fears to shape EU vote. Euronews, people in Europe, have you shifted politically in recent months or years? Russia protest, crowds clash with riot police as activist jailed. BBC, protest turns violent as activist jailed in Russia's Bashkortostan. Al Jazeera English, clashes at protest in Russia's Bashkortostan region as activist jailed. Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty, rare violent protests in Russia after anti-war activist jailed for inciting racial hatred. The Telegraph, Russian police clash with protesters after activist jailed. A Bardman explosion in Nigeria, the roof fell on my mother in bed. BBC, 3 killed and 77 injured in a massive blast caused by explosives in a southern Nigerian city. The Independent, graphic warning, Nigeria blast kills 2, as buildings collapse, Reuters. Reuters, 2 dead, dozens injured in explosion in southwest Nigeria. Al Jazeera English, 2 killed and 77 injured in a massive blast in southern Nigeria. Davos Day 2, Blinken says Gaza scenes, gut-wrenching, UN's Guterres warns world failing on AI and climate crisis, Business Live. The Guardian, the global super-rich want to rebuild trust, good luck with that. The Telegraph, Davos 2024 Day 2, some of the key moments from today. World Economic Forum, is Davos still worthwhile? Financial Times, Davos 2024, Francis Macron heads to WEF to woo business leaders, France 24 English. Winter weather snarls air, train travel across Europe. Blinken says US in demand as he mourns gut-wrenching scenes in Gaza. Reuters, Blinken gives Israel reality check on post-war Gaza, Arab countries want help. Hindustan Times, at Davos, Blinken calls pathway to Palestinian state necessity for Israeli security. The Hindu, Israel vs Palestine, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken on Gaza's condition, N18v, News 18. CNN News 18, Davos updates, Blinken says Gaza suffering gut-wrenching, DW January 17, 2024. China population decline accelerates as birthrate hits record low. The Guardian, China records population decline for second straight year. BBC, China's population could continue declining for another 50 years, expert. CNA, population of China shrinks as birthrate hits historic low. The Times, China's population dropped for a second straight year. Frederik X, Danish monarch publishes the King's Word 3 days into reign. BBC, 7 style lessons to take from Denmark's new Queen Mary. The Telegraph, all men over 50 should cry in public like King Frederik. iNews, Europe's last queen, Margrethe of Denmark, gives up the throne. BBC, why a new king means now is the perfect time to visit Denmark. Trump unleashes truth social attacks against E Jean Carroll while in court. The Independent, E Jean Carroll in court to testify for Trump defamation trial. The Telegraph, Donald Trump back in court for defamation in sexual assault case. US launches new airstrikes against Houthis in Yemen targeting anti-ship missiles. The Independent, Houthis flaunt direct hit on Israel-bound ship with missiles in Red Sea, victory for Palestine. Hindustan Times, Red Sea attacks, Greek vessel hit by missile fired by Houthi rebels. BBC, the Houthis show extremist Islam is still a threat and the war on terror is back. Evening Standard, will the clash with the Houthi rebels lead to global conflict? Intense Israeli strikes in South Gaza City as hostages sent medicine. BBC, Qatari planes with medicines for hostages arrives in Egypt. The Times of Israel, deal struck to deliver medicine to hostages as Palestinians fight in Gaza. Hampstead Highgate Express, Israel-Gaza war, deal reached on aid to Gaza, including to hostages. BBC, Netanyahu said to approve no security checks for medicine shipment to Gaza. Russia-Ukraine war at a glance, what we know on day 693. The Guardian, Russian missiles hit Ukrainian apartment buildings and injure 17 in latest strikes on civilian areas. The Independent, Russia faces fresh accusations of targeting journalists in Ukraine. Atlantic Council, Putin's Belgorod revenge, Russia bombards Kharkiv with S-300 missiles, watch. Hindustan Times, at least 17 injured after Russian missiles hit Ukraine's Kharkiv. Middle East Crisis Live, US designates Houthis as terrorist group after attacks on ships in waters off Yemen. The Guardian, US set to redesignate Houthis as terror group. BBC, US to reclassify Yemen's Houthi rebels as terrorists. The Times, US to relist Houthis as terrorist group amid Red Sea attacks. The Independent, Israel's war on Gaza live, US designates Yemen's Houthis, terrorist group, Israel war on Gaza news. This was all for the news. Thanks for listening. Please do not forget to like and subscribe.